My name is Max Orr. I identify as transgender and sometimes non-binary.
My name is Val Paizo. My gender identity is male. I think being transgender is an important part of my identity, but it's not part of my gender. Being transgender just kind of describes my gender journey. That sounds super cheesy, but that's just like a description of like how I got to where I am. It's like one of my identities, just like being a short person is like part of my identity. Lots of things are part of my identity which aren't my gender. Being trans just happens to kind of describe my gender, but my gender is just male, man, guy, whatever. Pretty normal binary gender for me.
As far as non-binary goes, I think that how I understand my gender is a little bit different than a lot of what I guess you would say F to M trans guys. I don't even really identify with that fully. I think for me, it's a little bit more about what feels right to me, but that's not always going to be the same every day, and being seen as a man is not as important to me as I think a lot of the other trans guys that I hang out with, and so somewhere in between those identities feels more comfortable to me.
My realization of being a trans person was very, very gradual. I know like for a lot of people there's kind of this like big epiphany moment at the beginning, and then they see it, like they'd never had a term for it, and then they see it somewhere and then just like all of a sudden realize that that's 100% them, and like, oh my God. Like I've had moments like that have been like really like powerful and like validating of, yes, I'm a trans person and this definitely confirms it, but like that didn't happen until I was already identifying as a man and identifying as trans. The process of me like coming to realize that I was like very slow, like online, just like researching it, like learning about it, and then being like, and then just eventually being like, yeah, that's true, me. But understanding it, I mean, that kind of came along the same vein. Like I learned a bunch about it, was trying to figure out what about myself made me uncomfortable, and then eventually it kind of just like pieced together.
How I feel as a trans guy, and I think a lot of trans guys feel this way, is that in order to have our identities validated and feel like we are accepted for who we are in the world, we sort of have to be masculine and seen under sort of a very, I guess, stereotypical idea of what masculinity means.
The terms masculine and feminine and masculinity and femininity, I think they're completely created by like stereotypes. I think they're pretty good terms to describe kind of people's behaviors, so I don't think they're like bad terms. I don't hate them or anything, but I do think they're kind of fake.
And it's complicated to sort of want that because we want to feel accepted and validated, but at the same time not want to fit with what society defines masculinity to be. I think for me, being stereotypically masculine is not important to me and doesn't really apply to me. I think that I don't have a lot of interest in it, and I sort of feel uncomfortable in situations where I'm surrounded by a lot of masculinity. But at the same time, being able to feel masculine to me is, I guess, just being comfortable with being a boy in the way that I am.
A long time ago when I was coming out and was still like presenting very androgynously, I think I tried a lot harder to fit those masculine stereotypes, and I think at the time that kind of helped me feel like I was being authentic, even though it kind of wasn't my genuine authentic personality, but it was helping people who saw me as kind of this androgynous or like female person. It helped them see me as masculine or male, or help them like accept that I identified as male, and so I think it helped me at the time. I think it's kind of shitty that the world made me feel like I had to be that way, but I think it made me feel better knowing that people did see me as more masculine. I hope that I never have to, again, kind of approach masculinity as if it's like a goal. I think everybody has feminine and masculine traits and behaviors, and I just think now it's not something I think about, and everything masculine about me, which there's plenty, I think it's all like very natural and actually authentic now, and I'm not like kind of exaggerating it to have people think of me differently. Which is great. I'm glad I got to that point.
Being trans and being queer and figuring out that identity is a very personal thing, but I also think that the way we form those identities have a lot to do with society and how society views us and makes us feel about ourselves. This time in my life is probably the most comfortable I've been with who I am and the most sure I've been about where I'm at with my identities, and I feel like that's only gonna get better as I get older, and that's pretty cool.
I've had this like really positive experience of being trans. Like my family accepts me, I have friends who accept me, I go to a school that helps me with any issues and that really tries to be like a good ally to trans people. Just so many things make my trans experience such a positive one. One of the best parts about being me and one of the best parts about like people being people is like when they have these cultures that they feel really, really connected to. I'm just very grateful to be part of this community, and I feel really supported by it all the time.